a haul today to share of manga, fan art prints, enamel pins, an art book, and a few other things. I feel like everything has been coming in kind of slow, and then I did get a few damaged items that I then had to send back and wait for a new copy to come. So I had been putting off filming a haul video, so I let it all pile up, and I'm just gonna get right into it. To start, I have a few shoujo series that I got the new release volumes. So first, In the Clear Moonlit Dusk, Volume 7. I really like this series. I really like this mangaka, Mika Yamamori, a high school set romance series. I was a few volumes behind on this, and I did catch up on my read. When I got this one, I read the last couple volumes, then I read this one. Then I decided to just go ahead and catch up online to the chapter releases in Japan. So I'm still really enjoying this series and looking forward to the next one. I did see the cover reveal for Volume 8, and it is bright yellow. So this series is going to look really wild on my shelves with the colorful spines. So far there's been pink, purple, blue, actually a few different shades of purple, green. This one's bright green, but the spine isn't green. And then the next one, I assume the spine will be yellow. So we'll be looking forward to that. Next, A Sign of Affection, Volume 9. And this is another one. I think it might have been on the same day that I got these two that I just read both of them. So this one, I also went back and read a few volumes before this one because I had fallen behind. And then after catching up, reading Volume 9, I went ahead and read the digital releases up to the current chapter release into Volume 11, I think. But really looking forward to the next couple volumes. I really like the upcoming cover illustrations as well as this one. I love that it's just a soft pink and they look so cute here on the cover. But this is an ongoing university romance series. It is a shoujo series, but I do like that it has a bit of a mature vibe to it because they're a little older than typical shoujo romance protagonists. But this is another one that I like quite a bit, and I'll be looking forward to the next couple volumes and just seeing how the story goes. And then I have another high school romance series, A Condition Called Love, Volume 9. So as of now, this series has finished the anime, and I still haven't watched it. I'm planning on watching it soon, but I wanted to wait. I wasn't watching while it was airing because I wanted to be able to binge straight through it. So I'm planning to watch it soon, and I'm really excited for it. I do like this series quite a bit. This is one I've been following the digital release, so I am caught up on those chapters up through, I think, Volume 14. But the physical release is gradually catching up. But this is a high school romance. I really like the two main characters. They're very sweet. I like the dynamic between them. Hananoi has some yandere characteristics, but he is a softie deep down and a sweetheart, so really enjoy this one. I actually am behind on my physical read-through of this one just because I wanted to go back and start from the beginning again since I did recently read the later volumes that have released more recently, but just planning to collect this series in full, so picking them up as they release. And then another university romance, so Kimi Todoke, Soulmate. This is Volume 2, so this is a 3-volume series spin-off from Kimi Todoke. I have read it already, and I haven't been reading my physicals because I'm planning to just, when I get Volume 3, just read all 3 of them at once. But in Kimi Todoke, I didn't really like Kurumi, so I don't love this spin-off series, but I do enjoy her story and her pursuit of romance in university. And then some of the characters that I love from Kimi Todoke are in this as well as side characters. So I did want to have this series in my collection because Kimi Todoke is one of my favorite shoujo series. But just plugging along with this one, I was really surprised when I received this that the spine, the title font, or not the font, the text was yellow and kind of pink because the first volume is like red and like light pink. So I'm really curious what the Volume 3 is going to look like because I want them to match on the shelf, and I assume it kind of matches the coloring on the title font on the covers, but I don't know what the volume 3 is going to look like, so looking forward to seeing how that turns out. But it's only 3 volumes, so I hope that it is aesthetically pleasing what they decide to do with it and not just some random like bright color, but we'll see. Next, I have some BL titles. So this first one here, My Dearest Patrolman, Volume 1. I really like this series. It's 3 volumes. It is already completed in Japan. And I'm really happy that it got an English print release. I did just read through all 3 volumes. I read my new volume plus the next 2 volumes digitally. This series does also have a prequel one-shot, so I really hope that Sublime will consider printing that one in English too, since it's part of this story that follows his friend and the other couple in this series. But this is a pretty sweet romance story following a guy who used to work on the police force and retired, and then a guy who was helped by him when he was younger and was motivated to join the police force because of him. It is a little bit of an age gap romance, but they're already adults, so a man about to turn 40 and then a 30-year-old. But this series is pretty funny. It has a lot of silly humor. This guy is kind of absurdly obnoxious at times, but I find it really funny. This guy is really big, but he's a big softie and just a really sweet guy, so really happy again to just have this series in English and looking forward to the next 2 volumes coming out. And then next, Engage Volume 2. And this one too I read as soon as I got it. Volume 1 didn't end like on a cliffhanger, but it kind of left with a lot of things up in the air, so I just wanted to get right into the next volume to see where things would go. So Engage is part of the world of several different series by the same mangaka, so Sayonara Game, Change World, Love Nest Second, and then Engage. So the characters from those other series are all kind of sprinkled throughout all of the series. So I'm a big fan of Love Nest, and my 2 guys from Love Nest have been popping up in Engage, and it's been making me so happy. But I've been surprised Engage has had such a different vibe to it than the other series. So it's not just romance and just angst like the other titles in this world, but there's a bit of mystery in it, especially in Volume 2, a little bit of like gangster vibes and Yakuza content. So I'm really excited for Volume 3 now because of some of the reveals like in the last kind of maybe quarter of the Volume 2. There were a few reveals about some of the characters that got me really anxious. Maybe not anxious, but just excited and kind of curious about what role they're going to play as the series continues. So we'll be looking forward to Volume 3, and I'm really curious how long it's going to be because it isn't complete with Volume 3. Volume 3 just released in Japan like a month and a half ago. So I'm curious if it's going to end with Volume 4 and be the same length as Love Nest Second, or if it's going to continue past that. But I guess we'll find out. Next, I have a series that I added a chunk of volumes to my collection with this order, and it's for the series What Did You Eat Yesterday? Volumes 1 to 10. So this series is ongoing. Volume 22 is up for pre-order right now, and I wanted to go ahead and pick up the first half of the series and just get my hands on the volumes because I wanted to read these from physical volumes rather than reading them online. But also, when I had read this series in the past, a lot of the volumes were out of stock. So when I was inclined to pick up the series more recently, I figured a bunch of volumes would be out of stock, so I just looked and I saw that they were all in stock at Barnes & Noble, so I don't know if there was a reprint or what, but I didn't want to wait too long to get them just in case they sold out and there wouldn't be another reprint, but I only picked up half of the volumes because there wasn't a very good sale going, and I wanted to just kind of save the other half of the series for when there are triple stamps maybe, so that I can get those rewards to discount on future purchases. But the reason that I really got into this series again, so about 2 years ago, I believe, I had read through some of these volumes. I believe I had read through volume 10, and while I enjoyed it, it was kind of hard to get through after a certain point because the chapters start to feel a little repetitive after a while if you're just reading them back to back, because one, it is a slice of life series, but then two, every chapter has cooking content. So it's pretty systematically, like at a certain point of every chapter, it's like, okay, it's dinner time, and then the main character will start cooking dinner and go through his recipes. So while I do really enjoy cooking content, it was kind of hard to get through because I was binge reading it. So anyways, the reason I got back into it is because I stumbled upon some doujinshi for this series, What Did You Eat Yesterday? And I thought it was made by a fan, but then I realized looking closer that it was by the actual mangaka that had done these doujinshi. Not these are the actual series, but the doujinshi that I'm talking about, that it was the mangaka that was working on them. And while the main story is not a romance series, it's a seinen slice of life comedy series with a focus on cooking. In contrast, the doujinshi was really focused on their relationship, their emotional connection. It had spicy content. So I went through and read all the ones that had been translated into English. There were 6 of them in English and then 3 additional ones that have not been translated to English yet. And I liked it so much. I already did have a fondness for these 2 guys, but reading the main story, sometimes it felt like they were just roommates rather than a couple in a relationship. But reading the doujinshi, which was canon material, like literally every doujinshi had a little author note where it said where in the series, between which chapters, that story was meant to be. It just got me really, really invested in them and their relationship and their life. So after I read those, I was like, okay, I'm getting back into the series. And since getting these, I've read through the first 3 volumes again, and I'm just trying to gradually go through, and I'm enjoying it so far. I'm not feeling like it's repetitive or anything because I'm not reading them back to back, and just like once a week, just picking up the next volume and reading through. But I'm excited because I did read through, I believe, volume 10 in the past, but I'm going back through with my new view of them after reading the doujinshis and just really soaking up the content, enjoying the cooking content, of course, but also just looking for little hints of their romance that are not super blatant in how the series was originally serialized, since the story was written for a male audience, as opposed to typical BL series that are written for a female audience. But gradually I'm getting back through this series, and I'm excited once I catch up to volume 10. By then, I'm hoping to have the next set of volumes in my collection and then just continue into new content. So happy to have these now. I kind of hate how the spines look. I wish that they had either stuck with the really kind of pale colors, like a pale yellow, then a pale green, then a pale orange. But then just randomly volume 7 switches to brown and then like deep green. So I don't know. I don't know who decided on all this, but I didn't let the aesthetics stop me from adding it to my collection, and I think this brown volume is the worst. But then after that, it just will get better. It will get better. If it's colorful volumes after this, I'll be happy. So looking forward to getting the rest of them, 11 to 21. And then I need to find a little spot in my collection. I can put these on the bookcase where they will fit the vibe. I did recently just adjust my shelves, and so I've been thinking ever since I got these, where should I put them? Where should I put them? But really happy to have a new kind of renewed invigoration for this series and just enjoying this couple so much more than I did before. The next couple items were gifts from a friend who went to Anime Expo and picked up a few things for me. So I was really surprised. She sent me a little care package and included these 3 booklets from Lullaby of the Dawn. So booklet 1, booklet 2, and 3. And these were a new release from Tokyo Pop that they revealed at the Anime Expo. And it was really exciting when they announced this release because these were special booklets that came with the Japanese volumes, but they translated and printed them in English for us. So this is a series that I have been reading. I don't own the physicals in my collection, but I have been enjoying the story. It's been kind of wild, the twists, and I believe it was volume 4, or maybe at the end of volume 3. But I'm really excited to get into these and to read this content because I haven't read it before. But I believe that they said that for people who weren't going to be going to Anime Expo, that they would be able to purchase these afterwards from their Amazon storefront, I believe. But just really excited to have these extras. I'm so grateful. And then she also sent along this pin. Guess who it is? So it's a little weasel, but it's an anime character, Omi from Haikyu. Started trying to get it to focus on him, but if you couldn't tell from his little curly hair going down his face and his face mask and little wiping cloth, it's so funny. And he's so cute. I don't know if he's supposed to have his little moles. If he does, I can't tell, but it is very much him. So I'll be adding this to my Haikyu shelf, and it's just so cute. But really appreciate that she thought of me and got me this little Omi. Another thing that I picked up recently, secondhand from a friend who was letting go of them, was a set of Haikyu prints. So Omi is my favorite character in Haikyu, so I was really happy to take these off her hands, and then as well as Atsumu, my favorite ship in Haikyu is Sakuatsu, so loving all these. And then the twins. So glad to have these now. I wish I had the space to just display everything, but I'm gonna have to think of how to store the ones that I am not gonna have on display because I don't have room for all of them right now, but needed to have all of them anyways. A few more books and then I'll get back to the merch. The next one is Sword Art Online re-Aincrad. So I was really happy when I found out that they were releasing re-Aincrad, which was more in the art style that I was used to from watching the anime. I wasn't a big fan of the Aincrad art in the original manga, but I am a fan of Sword Art Online, the anime. Aincrad is my favorite arc, so I was happy to find out about this release. But it is one that we're going to be collecting. We do also have the Phantom Bullet volumes, as well as the ABEC art books. So planning to gradually pick up these ones as the next volumes release. The next item in my haul is a book, like a book. But I have a reason that I'm sharing it as part of this haul. So it is this collection of short stories, stories of Osaka life by Oda Sakunosuke. And I haven't read into it yet. I've been kind of saving it so that it could be a little treat and reward for me. So I don't think I've mentioned it on YouTube at all, but I've mentioned it on Instagram. Starting last month in July, I've been making an effort to read some Japanese literature, obviously translated to English, but Japanese literature by the literary figures that are characters in Bungo Stray Dogs. So this is one of my favorite characters in Bungo Stray Dogs, Oda, and his character is based on this writer. And so I'm going through and reading mostly digital short stories, poems, novels, and the shorter novellas of different characters that I like. So Rampo, Dazai, Mori. I'm going to try to read some Fukuzawa once I can get my hands on something. But I've just been gradually going through and reading bits, and I'm planning to do mostly digital reads, and then anything that I love or anything that becomes a favorite, I'll go ahead and pick up physical. But this was one that I couldn't find a digital release. And when I saw a listing for the physical book, I just went ahead and got it because even if these stories don't wow me, which I feel like I'm going to enjoy them based on the description here in the back, I feel like I'm going to enjoy his writing style. So I'm really looking forward to reading this. But I was thinking even if I didn't enjoy it as much as I hope I will, I would want it in my collection still just because he's one of my two favorite characters from that series. And it's based on this real man. But I was really excited to find when I got this book that it has 4 stories in it, and 3 of the stories in it are stories that I have in this book that I actually bought in Yokohama when I was in Japan last year. So this is a Japanese book that is a collection of a handful of his shorter works compiled together, and 3 of the stories in this English collection are in here as well. So I thought that was really neat. I have not taken any time to go through and translate any of this, but it just makes me excited and happy that some of the stories that I got in the Japanese collection for Oda are in this book as well. So probably going to get into this soon. I did read a total of 12 works in July. I'll put on the screen because I can't remember. So 12 works, a mix of novels, novellas, short stories, and poems, but from a mix of different writers. So I'll put it here on the screen. But I've been saving Oda's works to kind of reward myself for working hard and getting through through those ones. So plan to get into it soon. Okay, next is a fanzine for the series NieR, specifically NieR Automata and following 9S and 2B. And it is mostly art, but then also some fanfics. So we haven't started the second season of NieR Automata yet. We're planning to rewatch season 1 soon and then get into the next season, but my husband is a huge fan of this game series and just really likes a lot of characters in the series. So this one is predominantly for him, but I wanted to share it in the haul as well. And my last book is One Piece, volume 106. And I love this cover. Look at Sanji. He's so cute. But I've been keeping up with the digital release of One Piece on the Shonen Jump app, so I am current. I do enjoy this series quite a lot, and just collecting the physicals as they release. So I have read the whole series on the Shonen Jump app, and then earlier this spring, kind of winter spring, I read the whole series again from my physical volumes. I think it was in February. I wanted to read the whole series before Sanji's birthday, so I'm really glad that I decided to collect the physical volumes because it was fun to read through the books rather than just on the Shonen Jump app. But then also, I love how the series looks on my shelves. I love the aesthetic of the colorful spines. But yeah, volume 1 is 6. And while I'm talking about One Piece, I'll share some of my One Piece merch. So first, this Sanji card. It's like a Wano design, but then it's from the 1-year anniversary of the English card game. I don't remember if I shared the Chinese card that I got for Sanji from the Chinese card game 1-year anniversary. If I didn't, I'll look back through my videos, and if I didn't share that, I'll put a photo on the screen here. But I don't play the One Piece card game, but I collect all the Sanji cards because he's my favorite. And this is kind of like, to me, it's a really funny kind of design, like this kind of old style art. And all the characters that had cards released for this set kind of look similar, but some of the art is just stunning for the One Piece cards. I think I've gotten a few cards that I've just completely forgotten to share on my channel because I will just get them secondhand, or I will get them from TCG Republic and just totally forget to share them. So trying to remember when I can, but another Sanji card to add. I also have a handful of Sanji pins that I got all from the same pin maker. I'm going to put an image up on the screen because since getting them like already a few weeks ago, I totally forgot to record a video of them, and they're already pinned on my Sanji board, and I didn't want to pull them down just to share them in this haul because I'm just always worried I'm going to damage the posts on the back of the pins, as well as the actual pin board. Every time I push pins in and pull them out, it makes them get a bit loose. So just decided to leave them in the pin board, and I did have a photo from when I got the pins in because I always share them on my Instagram stories. So these 5 Sanji pins, it was a gacha release, so I did order duplicate packs, and I'm glad I got those extra packs because I did manage to get the blind design. So I got all 5 of them, and then I was able to sell my duplicates. So happy to have these ones. They're so cute and tiny, and the theme, if you couldn't tell, was each pin Sanji being tied up. So I thought that was such a fun idea. And then the pins just being cute, tiny little 1-inch pins or smaller. Another new Sanji pickup is this bookmark. It's a little lewd, so I mean, it's not an explicit bookmark, but just, yeah. He's so cute. He's so handsome. So as soon as I saw this bookmark, I had to get it. I actually have 2 prints, art prints by this artist who did these. Sorry, it keeps losing focus. But 2 NSFW prints of Sanji, and then this one is an NSFW, but it's not like explicit. It's just, you can enjoy it if you want. But really happy to have this. And the last Sanji item is an art print by an artist that I follow on Instagram. And she lives in Europe, but I had a friend in Europe who was willing to proxy for me, and she got a hold of this and sent it over to me along with a few other items that I wanted to pick up from Europe. So happy to have this design. I loved it when I saw the artist share it on Instagram. And actually, right after ordering this print, I found out that this art was commissioned for a pin design. So since then, it has already been months since I ordered this, but only just recently got it. But this pin is already in production and it looks stunning, but I decided not to get the pin because I had already ordered this print. But I just really love how how he looks, his facial expression. I actually don't really love his Wano design because I don't like Wano hair, anyone's Wano hair, but he's so pretty. Oh, he's so pretty. Okay, just a few more things. So I got this art print, and it's from Apothecary Diaries. I read all of Apothecary Diaries, all of the manga that is out, I believe, through volume 12, because I read digitally to catch up after I finished reading the English release. And then I also watched the anime. To be honest, I'm not a huge fan of the series. Like, I know it's very loved, and I'm glad that people are able to enjoy it. But what I loved in Apothecary Diaries was this guy and his romance, and I loved it. So I saw this artist's art on Twitter, and I thought it was gorgeous, and I'm really happy that I had the opportunity to get a hold of one of their prints of my favorite section of the series. All right, I have a couple more pins and then one more set of art prints. So from the series Smyrna and Capri, I have this little pin here of the spirits. It's so cute. I haven't really figured out how to display this though, because it doesn't stand up very well just on its own because it's not flat on the bottom. So this point here is a little longer, so it either tips one way or the other. I have these little mini pin boards, but it looks so small on it. So I've been just kind of putting it on the side and then like tucking this half of the pin board behind a frame. But I'm still trying to figure out how to display this in a way that will make me happy every time I look at my shelves. But I love these little spirits. They're so cute. And then I have two Toji pins. First, this skateboarding Toji pin. The design is by one of my favorite Toji artists, Kinoko, on Twitter. And there are two pin makers on Instagram that I follow that pin her art. And so I've been just trying to get a hold of every Kinoko pin that I can get a hold of. But I'm really glad I managed to find this one. This one released before I started collecting pins, so it has been a hunt. And there's one other Kinoko pin that I am desperate to get. So I'm just watching for it, hoping that I'll be able to get it one day. And the other Toji pin is a P for P manga design. And this one was actually a charity pin. So I was able to get a Toji design and also support the pin makers initiative. And I'm happy to have them now. I am running out of space on my Toji pin board though. I don't know what to do. I don't want to get a bigger board and I don't want to get a second board, so I might have to make some hard decisions soon and unhaul some of my Toji pins. I don't know, but happy to have this one. I have a couple. I think I have three now, 3 P for P Toji designs that are black and white. So, I mean, Toji's not even really in JJK that much. Like, it's a very short section that he's in it. So I feel like every panel of him is just like an iconic Toji panel. So I don't know. It's going to be hard. And then I have a few more art prints. I forgot I said I just had art prints and that was all, but I forgot I also have an art book. So I'll share that last. So I have 4 art prints and they're all Yona of the Dawn, and it is one of each of the dragons. So I already have, by this artist, 2 Shinah art prints, but they recently opened their shop. It had been a while since their shop was open, so I just grabbed all of these So I got their newest Shinah design. I love him. He's my favorite character in Yona of the Dawn. So of course I have to have all of the Shinahs. And then their newest dragon illustrations. So Kija, Jaeha, and Seno. So I'm really happy. I love their art style. In addition to the other Shinah prints that I have, I also have Eren from Attack on Titan, Omi from Haikyu, Chifu from Tokyo Revengers. So I've got a few of their different characters that they do art for. I really love their art style, but especially that they did all of the dragons. Makes me so happy to have them now. But I'm out of space on my Yona of the Dawn shelf, so I'm kind of brainstorming for a storage solution, some kind of album that I can put these in along with some of my other art and smaller merch that I kind of don't really have a place for. So brainstorming on that, but glad to have these now. And then lastly is this art book. It is an art collection book of art from Tanjiu, who is a Chinese artist. I recently read her manhwa series, Tamen Degushi, and I really enjoyed it, as well as her collab series, Mospaka Advertising Department, which was a collab work with Old Jean, who I also have 3 of her art books as well. But a couple friends on Instagram already had this art book, so I snooped around through their posts and stories about the art book, and I'm so impressed with the book. It's hardcover, it's thick, the illustrations are really nice, the binding is really nice. So I thought that this book was going to be a little thinner, and rather than hardcover, just have like a firm soft cover like the old John art books. But I was pleasantly surprised to see how thick it was and that it was hardcover. It comes with a poster and a postcard print. It also comes with an enamel pin and an acrylic keychain. But I'll just do a very rough flip through. Sorry, it's just kind of an awkward angle to do this, but I'm sure if you just search Tanjiu art collection, there will be some actual flip through videos. Maybe I'll, if I one day take the time and sit down and record a flip through video of this one. I haven't done any art book flip throughs in a while, so I have quite a few that I could do, but anyways. So after reading Tamen Degushi, I went and read a couple of her short stories. I can't remember the names of all of them. I had read Mospaka Advertising Department sometime back after I read 19 Days by Old Jean. And then it was a collaboration work that they did. This is the Mospaka design for the characters. Yes. And then this front section of the book is the girls from Tamen Degushi, as well as the rest of the cast. I like this guy. But I like the main dark-haired girl in it. I'm sorry, I forgot her name. Actually, I forgot everyone's names. But just really pretty art. This is my favorite official art for this series. I just think it looks really cool and has kind of edgy vibes, which I like. But I am such a sucker for art books. contents. Sorry, I flipped through it backwards. But I'm glad to have this one in my collection now. I did order it from AliExpress. I actually ordered this art book and got a really great deal, and then my order was canceled. So then I had to go and order again. And the next listing was a bit more expensive, but it arrived safely. I was so pleased that it didn't have any damage. So happy to add this to my shelves. But this is everything this time around. I kind of took a long break between filming my hauls because I just kept feeling like I was waiting on things. But now that it's the first week of August, I have been looking at my spreadsheet and I do have quite a few pre-orders that are going to be coming out this month. Hopefully Barnes & Noble will do some kind of in-stock sale or double stamps or triple stamps so that I can pick up the rest of these volumes. I actually have gotten a few Nendoroids recently that I'm really excited to share, so probably my next video or 2 videos are going to be the setups of those ones, so I'm excited to share. And then I'll be back with another haul video after that. I do have a Japan order that's going to be coming soon with lots of exciting stuff in it. But I did want to mention, I have mentioned it before, but on YouTube my videos are predominantly haul videos, so the things that I'm buying and adding to my physical collection. But if you want to see what I've been reading or any of my reviews of my reads, I share all of those on my Instagram account. So that's where you'll find content like that. I did used to do reading log videos, but I found them to be really burdensome to prepare for and to film, and I would get really anxious and stressed about it. So I tried it out for about a year, doing monthly reading logs, and I'm still just gonna stick to sharing my reading reviews on Instagram and my stories. So that's where you can find that. But then all of my haul content and just manga and merch and art and the things like that that I'm collecting, I'll continue to share here on my YouTube channel. But anyways, I hope you enjoyed watching. I'm sorry this was so long. I can tell already it's gonna be a long video. I had the goal, I almost said at the beginning of the video, I'm going to try to keep it short today, and I didn't. I didn't say it because I knew I wouldn't be able to do it, but anyways, thanks if you stuck around to the end of the video. Hope you enjoyed seeing all my pickups, and I'm looking forward to sharing the next batch of stuff that comes in the mail, so I'll see you again soon in another video. Thanks for watching.